And we are live. Hey everybody, welcome to Lockdown Survival Week 5. It's so funny, it always makes me laugh, just like we have so many lights on in here and it's still so dark. The candles are glistening. There's more over here. Oh. How are you all? I can see you've been talking about scones, which is interesting. Honestly, I know what you mean when you say you've had too many scones, like been there. Anyway, please let me know where you're tuning in from today. Leave it in the side on the comments. Let me know how you are. We've been doing a little check-in at the start of each of these live sessions. 1 to 10, where are you at on your how I am scale? So 1 is you're just feeling absolutely rubbish, and 10 is feeling you're on top of the world. You're going to conquer every goal and aim and ambition you've ever set yourself. Where are you at? 1 to 10. I always sort of worry. There we go. Good. It's moving. Trev is on board. Yeah. Anyway, so the first few minutes of this, I usually just scramble around, attempting to just buy some time as people are tuning in, because I know that when I go live, people, people get notified. Bobby is here. He's just had his medication. Bobby, come here. He just like spits it out. He goes, blah. Did you have your medication? There you go, that'll cheer you all up. Nothing can be as bad as having that stuff pipetted down your throat. I can see there's quite a few low numbers today, which is sad. So I'm really hoping that, well, first of all, actually, thank you for tuning in despite feeling rubbish. I really hope that perhaps this live session can just bring you a little bit of lift. That would be kind of nice. And it's so great that we have this opportunity to just hang out, as it were. And they are hanging out sessions. They are quite unstructured and chilled, and basically it's an opportunity for me to have a chat with you guys about what I've been up to, and to rehydrate myself, because you guys are great at reminding me to drink things, and also just to check in with you guys, have some reflections, and let's get down to it. So Bobby's had his medication. The world is good. It's been a long week, eh? It's always crazy to he's got his cookies now. It's always crazy that I find in this situation time goes really fast, but also it's slow. And I guess here to sort of just give you a real quick insight into what we've been up to. What have we been up to? There's been a lot of ups and downs actually for me. Oh, actually, there has been a lot of ups and downs. Also, I'm sorry, I have a really dry face. I just got out of the shower because I just we walked Bobby, and then I was like, I've got enough time for 20 minutes to jump on the spin bike. So I did that, and then I'm like, I have 7 minutes. So I jumped in the shower. So this is my cold tea from our walk. So let's start with something I feel comfortable talking about. Nature. The seasons are changing, man. So I don't know about you guys, but we've got loads of snowdrops coming out. There's primroses. Mind you, they've been out since November, which is terrifying. Primroses. We can see where all the foxglove are going to come out, the rosebay willow herb. We can see a couple of celandines are in flower now as well. They're the little yellow flowers. If you're interested in learning more about spring wildflowers, I made a video last year, the beginning of last year, because I'm very interested in wildflowers. I really enjoy them, learning about them. So I made a little video sort of sharing some of my learning. So you can find that on the channel, obviously. And yes, we've got daffodils. They've been coming up as well. Haven't seen any in flower around us yet, which is quite comforting, I have to say. But they will be in probably a couple of days. So that's quite exciting. And in the garden, which is basically just like a square with gravel and a slab thing in the middle, there's a little bed on the side, and there's some bulbs that are sprouting up, and we've been eagerly checking them sort of every other day, which is really exciting. I don't know about you guys, but just sort of being able to go out each day and look at the sticks, the branches, and see, oh, the buds are getting a little bit plumper, and looking at the ground. Was it Monday? No, Friday. I think it was Friday last week. I found my first wild garlic leaf, and I found another one today, and I found one today on our little walk as well. Let me see if I can. Oh, that should be on silent. Let me see if I can find you the picture. It's got my interval timer on there at the moment, just so you can see, because it's kind of nice to share these things. Here we go. I'll just turn the brightness up a little bit. There you go. Can you see that? Wild technology. Wild garlic. So it's kind of nice. I like taking photos so I can sort of go back and check the dates of which we find things, which is super cool. Having said that, on Saturday and Sunday, we had a good chunk of snow. How much snow would you say we had?
3, 4 inches.
3 or 4 inches of snow. And as you might have seen on Facebook and Instagram, we created Walter in our life. Unfortunately, since Sunday evening in the rain, we have been mourning the loss of Walter, who melted because it rained. But he was our big snowman, and we had so much fun out there, which is really good. And it's just so cool because, you know, I feel like there's so much going on with Wild. I could very easily, and I kind of do some days, it's just get up, start editing or working, and just literally go all the way through. 7 o'clock is sort of my cutoff time, really, in the evening, where I'm like, cool, work is done. Let's wrap this up. I thought about doing a day in the life video as well, but I'm very scared of judgment. So I haven't done that yet. Also, I thought it would have been so cool when I was still teaching classes, because it's like sort of get up, go for a walk, cycle to work, teach a spin class, have a shower, cycle back, then like work all day, and then go to the gym, teach another class, come back. Like, it was quite fun. But yeah, I thought about doing a day in the life here, and it's quite chill, but it's just busy and mostly tech. And I'm like, is that really interesting for people? But I thought like I could even do a week in the life, and sort of just vlog a week in the life, and sort of just show the different things that we get up to here at Wild. But also with lockdown, people are angry, and I want to talk about that in a minute. I want to talk about what stay wild actually means, how it's just something so easy to say, kind of like I love you, but it has so many more layers. And sort of, I've just been thinking a lot about the community, because obviously it's growing very, very quickly. And in one sense, it's very overwhelming. In the other, it's so fulfilling and exciting. So anyway, the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's so cool that just no matter how busy I am with Wild, like I'm somebody obviously who loves the outside. And yes, I like the big adventures, and sometimes the short things are a bit monotonous, but at the same time, it's like now I just feel so much hope. Like there's hope in the atmosphere, you know, that as the seasons are changing. And it's just amazing, because even though I sort of, you know, if all I could walk was my one walk that I do every day, it changes every day in the light, as the seasons are changing. There's things to see if only I just slow down and look, or I stand and listen. You know, the song thrushes around here have been going absolutely nuts. Like, we've been sleeping in here recently because this house is very damp, and we've had a dehumidifier on in the other rooms with the heating. I can't do heating at night. So we've been out of the bedroom, but we're moving back in there now. And so, you know, we've got the double doors here which go outside, and we can hear the birds singing in the morning. And that's something I've grown up with, is bird song every morning. And it means that as soon as you wake up, you smile. And I kind of feel if you don't have natural bird song, like, why not set yourself a birdsong timer on your phone? Like, just waking up to that and just being able to listen is so good for the soul. So yeah, it's really nice that being able to see the seasons change, and it sort of really pulls me out of everything else that's going on. And you know, I have to say that, like, today and yesterday, for example, today in particular, I don't know if I'm just exhausted or if there's something else going on, but you know, where you just like can't see, your eyes just don't focus, and you just feel really flat and rubbish and tearful. Like, that has been the situation, and it sort of hit me yesterday. I had to go out to the osteo, and so I was like, la la la, busy, and then I get in the car and I just drive down the road, and then it's just like I've been slapped around the face by just rubbishness. And I just had a proper cry. Proper cry. I don't seem able to cry properly again at the moment, which is a little bit disheartening, but I had a proper cry, and you know, and then I ended up stuck in traffic for 25 minutes, and I couldn't get to my appointment, which was rubbish. More on the back update in a bit. So anyway, the last couple of days have just been feeling a bit rubbish. Still just trying to plow on with Wild. You know, I'm really trying to so desperately using this lockdown time. And it feels amazing. It feels really fruitful, because I've learned so much in the last year. Like, so last March, when the lockdown hit, it was just like, go. Like, I need to show up for the community. I'm going to do live sessions. I'm going to do Great Garden Camp. I'm going to do Million Miles for Mine. I'm going to do virtual things. I'm going to do competitions. I'm going to blah, 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 blah. And it was too much. And I'm really have learned over the last year that actually less is more. Like, all these things are so cliche, but until you hit the wall yourself, it's hard to really comprehend and understand that, and then also live it out. And with December having sort of hit that burnout situation, and then January, like, I definitely dived in way too quickly, but I don't regret that, because I'm really proud of where we are now today, literally. So I'm very, very structured with my time, and even things that I'm finding hard to set a focus on is like, okay, cool. Well, let's just find a good time to do this. Let's put the time into it, because as soon as it's done, you can move on to the next thing. What I have been finding quite hard at the moment is the variety of things that my head has to focus on every day. And it's today in particular, it just hit me, and yesterday as well, actually. On Monday, for example, when I just log on and I just message people or catch up with things a little bit, and I counted yesterday, looking back on the conversations I'd had on Monday, that there were 28 people that I could pick up the phone to this week and have a conversation with, to sort of connect with, to keep business relationships stable, or for whatever reason. And it was so overwhelming. It's no wonder I felt overwhelmed. And then every day there's just so many different things to think about, from personal things and stuff that needs doing, obviously, to running wild and all the different angles of that, the people that I'm in communication with, the coordination. There's Patreon, and the messages are coming through there quite a lot now, which is amazing. And it's so good, through just my own personal WhatsApp, which is half work, half life, to financial stuff that needs sorting out for a while, to blah 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 blah. And it's great that all of this is happening, but just it means that if all I want to do is just focus on scripting, for example, something that requires a very narrow field of focus, it can be, oh, I thought that Bob went then. It can be quite, well, it is, it's just been very overwhelming. And so yeah, it's nice to now, 3 days into just feeling overwhelmed, to again be able to analyze that, and sort of every rubbish experience that sort of comes my way, eventually I'm able to work through it and sort of use that to empower myself. But it requires a lot of reflection. It requires a lot of safe place in order to explore things, and talk things out in a respectful and kind way, towards myself and towards other people. And it's so exciting, because with Wild, like, as always, just the dreams are big, and we're trying to look at this year, and I've mentioned a few times, we're looking at plan A, B, C, and D, trying to, there you go, you have Bobby in the vision, trying to make sure that we've got different options for the year, Patreon gatherings, to blah, 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 all these different things. And it's very hard to, like, sometimes I just feel like flat on my face, because I don't really know what's going to be what. And other times it's like, all right, cool, I feel like I've got the creative space to think about it. But you need that self-awareness in order to be able to function like that, in order to be able to look at a situation and dream, as it were. So I sort of touched on the seasons and how that's really exciting, because it's a nice way, no matter where we are, to step out of the carnage that's going on around us. Tea. And actually, something else that there was something else I wanted to talk about before that, but I'm hoping that just through this conversation the things come out. There was something else that well, in general, I've even been struggling. Bobby, what are you doing? What's with that dog? He's a proper special needs dog. With the feelings of rubbishness that I've been having this last week in reality, it's been quite hard for me to get on the bike, for example, which is something that I really, really, really love to do. Moving is something I love to do. I get a lot of fulfillment out of it. And I think it's because I kind of slipped out of my routine. Initially, I would just get up and I would literally get dressed and go out the door with the coffee on the go. Bobby, what are you doing? Bear with. I don't know what he's doing. There seems to be some kind of cookie situation under there. What is it? I don't know what that is. What is it?
Oh, do you want to go wee-wees?
Right, anyway. So he's just being proper annoying right now.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't want to go outside.
Come on.
Thanks. Sheesh. Can't get 5 minutes around here. What was I saying now? Using nature to empower ourselves wherever we are, which is always really good. Shucks. Anyway, and that's that. Oh, fitness, finding that quite hard. But one thing I did manage to do, and rather than celebrating what I or loathing what I haven't been able to do, I'm trying to celebrate what I have done. And actually, for the first time this year, I actually got out properly on my bike. It is so hilly around here. So sort of 6 months ago, I was cycling 35, 40 miles, like I wouldn't say easily, it was pretty tough. But I was like, and that was fine. And what was it, Monday? I did 8.5 miles. I'm feeling them hamstrings, people. And I spin, I don't know how many hours I spin accumulatively per week or per month. But it's just so hilly around here. Like, it's good training for the Lake District. Like, I come out of my house and I have to go uphill. Like, if I go downhill, it's literally like a fifth of a mile, and then I'm going steeply uphill. So yeah, that was really, really quite cool. So I found a little 8.5 mile route that I can do. Yeah, it's just nice. My bike is good. It's a heavy bike, but it does the job for me. Little hybrid thing. And that was just very fulfilling. It completely drained me because it took a lot of mental and physical energy to get myself out there. But I'm excited. So I've sort of basically, I haven't got it here because I'm not on my desk, but I have this, I always have like monthly things that I'm looking to achieve. Or right now it's sort of before lockdown ends, so end of March-ish. I don't care if that's backed or not, like that's the target in my head. Then I have weekly goals. So, Sunday night, Monday, whatever it was, I sat down and I literally wrote a hot A4 piece of paper of to-dos. Some of them are out of my to-do list book. Some of them are just extra stuff like, I don't know, pay whatever needs paying. On there I put cycle, #1 and #2, so I can cross off one, and then I know that I want to cycle again this week, and that's sort of that's it, that's achievable. And it's just really nice, because last week we talked about sort of making things accessible when we're just feeling rubbish and there's something we want to do but just feels too big or too out of our grasp. Like, I have to practice this as well, breaking things down and doing the small things. And to be honest, that's kind of how my life is forged. So I wanted to just share that with you, share the celebration, and I managed to get out on my bike. Yay! Those of you on Patreon, you should have got the lens, but it was not the most helpful thing. Just going to drink some of that. Wrong pipe. So yes, there's that situation. And then basically, so the other sort of hard thing I've had to face is actually, I don't know what the word is, but maybe let's just talk about insecurities. I've been dealing a lot with insecurities at the moment. We all have insecurities about different things in varying degrees. They come and go, they morph and shift, and as we move through life. I think more and more of us are feeling anxious right now because of lockdown. Well, I know more and more of us are feeling anxious right now because of lockdown, and it's tough sitting with ourselves, there's a lot of celebration. We're having possibly more time than ever before with perhaps, with people we live with family time, that sort of thing. And it can be carnage, but it's a blessing at the same time. But that doesn't mean we're not feeling anxious. It does, especially looking into the year. A lot of us, we have our set holiday period that we get from work a year, and we know that, okay, we're going to go here and do this, and we're going to go there and do that. And we can't do that now. It almost has to be open, and we have to be spontaneous and adaptive. And that's tough for a lot of people, And I have to say, like, I've talked a bit in this series about competitiveness or feeling like I'm in some kind of race. And the reason why, one of the reasons why I set up Wild was because I don't want to be in a race, I'm living life the way I feel called to live it. I want to impact the world the way I feel I'm called to show up. And that's kind of that. But I've, in the podcast, the One Wildlife podcast, which is going really well. Thank you for asking. Next episode is up on Monday. In research for the podcast, I've been actually looking at other people, and a few other YouTubers have been brought to my attention. And there was one YouTuber in particular who I have a lot of respect for. A lot of respect, because she's very creative. She has a very good eye with her cinematic style of producing films is not quite my style. Mine, I pride myself in being much more down to earth and much more educational. But we sat here, watching a few things because I needed to do that for research. And I felt so insecure. And I couldn't even put words to the emotions that I was feeling. But the similarities between her and me were just insane that I was seeing. Of course, this is my perspective. This is my head telling me this story. And I know from experience that could very, very, very quickly have pulled me down and just sunk me into a pit of despair. And every time I shoot a film, every time I show up for a live session like this, every time I put out a social media post, I have to work through insecurities of the whole quote unquote imposter syndrome of the, someone's going to tell me, like, I can't tell you the number of times I've been told to get a proper job, I have to work through that I'm not good enough, or that people are going to judge me, or blah, 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 that they're going to say, maybe I'm not fit enough. I mean, that's the biggest insecurity right now. I've got all my wild workout things and health and fitness stuff I want to talk about, getting people outside and helping them feel empowered to access the trail during this difficult time. And it's really hard for me to put those out. I have 2 little videos filmed already. There's so much more I want to do, which is also another reason why I'm holding back. But I feel very anxious of my body, for example, and of being judged that, I've not got a shredded 6-pack, I'm not some lass doing it in my bikini. Like, no. And in fact, I deliberately do the training stuff or do whatever it is I'm doing in my hiking clothes, because I want you guys to see that it's accessible. No matter what, you don't need the gear. And, I'm working with a few Patreons one-to-one, and we're talking about movement and how they can move. And, like when I have long stints at the computer, my alarm goes off every half a minute, it's a bit intense. And I get up and I move for 5 minutes. I just do 5 exercises, or I do a 2.5 of one. And then I just sort of wander around the house, like move the Hoover around, and then I'm back at the desk. And it's sort of bringing that consciousness in, and I'm trying to let go of those insecurities so I can put more stuff out there. But I want to up the production quality of my films without losing my style. I have to say, like I've said so many times, tech is the biggest bane of my life. It really frustrates me. Like I have so much camera kit at the moment, but I know that all of it I could take onto the trail and it will all fail me at some point on the trail, which is very frustrating. So yes, I'm still sort of exploring that. I never really end up prioritizing that when I'm off the trail. Then when I'm on the trail, I wish that I did. So that is exceptionally lukewarm. It's just this big old journey, and essentially what I'm trying to get to, having watched some of this other YouTuber stuff, talking to Anna, she straight away, she doesn't see what I see. And I know that you guys don't see what I see, because you are here because you want to watch me, you want to hang out with me, you want to walk with me, you want to learn with me, like whatever. And that's awesome. And like, I'm really just trying to settle in, run your own race. One of the reasons, apart from injuries, why I stopped trail running and actually doing events, I love them to bits, is because I would get competitive. I'm a competitive person. And that does not play to my advantage, because then when I don't live up to my expectations, I have failed in my eyes, and I can't celebrate the victory that I have actually just overcome. I only just see the things that I haven't done very well. And that's no good. And if we live our lives like that, then we're never going to succeed, and that's sort of this year. If we had plans and things booked in and adventures booked in, and we now can't do them, like, sure, we can spend our life focusing on those. And absolutely, there's a place to mourn and lament. I'm really enjoying that word right now. Lament. But the reality is, what can we grab hold of? And that's so difficult, because that essentially means grabbing ourselves and giving ourselves a little shake and being like, this sucks, but what can we do about it? Because life's worth living. and that's cool, and that's what it means, that's that saying, or what we've been talking about. Nothing externally can imprison us. Only we can imprison ourselves in our minds. And I think the point is, just so many people are feeling frustrated and suffocated and stuck and restricted and angry and blah, 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 about COVID and the unknowns, like anxious and afraid. And, disconnected and lonely, all of these words which really impact our mental states and our physical states. More than anything, we have to take agency over our lives. We have to look at our values, decide who we want to be, and then figure out how we can act on them. If we're finding ourselves being bitter or upset or angry or whatever it is, like, look at something. Is it a healthy emotion? Are we being unkind? Well, there's no place to, there's never a place to be unkind, in my opinion. We have to show respect to ourselves, and we have to show respect for others. And one of the things I really wanted to talk about, because I wanted to make a video for a while, called what does stay wild mean? So we got to spend more time in the wild is the name of the company. The clue's in the name. Like, we're talking about getting outside, people. But stay wild is so much more than that. When I say stay wild at the end of every video, what do I mean? I mean, show up for yourselves, show up for your community, show up for the planet. I mean, let's do the hard stuff. Let's take each other's hands. This is a all-inclusive, loving space. There is no place for competition. There is no place for judgment. There is only place for love and acceptance and support and encouragement. Because if we don't do that, who's going to do that? And how can we expect that from other people if we're not putting it out ourselves? And I really, really stand by that. And I really, really believe that. And, it's like every single one of you guys who are here are absolutely equal in my eyes, no matter if you're a Patreon or not. Like, I appreciate you being here. You are a person, a real life person. I can't see you, sadly, but you can see me. And I appreciate you. I value all just the same, no matter what you contribute to Wild or not, and that's something that's my journey. Like, we can't control anybody else's reactions to us. We can only control our reactions. And it might feel like we can't control them, but we can. And I used to hate it when people said that to me. I still kind of do. Don't say that to me. But it's such a blessing that we are such intelligent humans, and that almost every time we're feeling awful, rubbish, let's just say it, crap, it's an opportunity to invest in ourselves. It's an opportunity to go, something is not right now. What can be right? What can I do about it? And usually we can't see that ourselves. We need people around us who can help us with that. And that's why community is so important, so that we can have people around us who reflect back on us, our values, reflect back on us, where we're trying to get in life, And if you feel like, well, I don't have anybody in my life, you do, because you're here. You're here. And so you instantly do have people in your life. Join our Patreon community. Don't join our Patreon community. If I'm honest, I really don't care. The only reason why I want you to join the Patreon community is because I really believe you should give yourself a chance. That is it. that yes, somebody out there who's very shallow-minded, if I'm going to be completely honest, you go, oh, she's going on about Patreon again. She just wants all the money. Like, no, I would have a Patreon community if it was free. But I have to be able to support what I'm doing with Wild, because I want to change lives with what I'm doing, and by you being here, you're helping to change lives. I appreciate you. And that is the bottom line. And this whole journey, this whole going through the tough stuff is so good. I think back to all the trails. I think back to all the times, that I've hurt myself, or I've wanted to do something beyond that. And I've taken steps towards doing that, and the lessons that I've learned through coming out the other end. I'm so grateful for every single dark place I've ever been in. When you're in it, you hate it. When you're out of it, you kind of look back and it really does become a bit of a blessing, because there's such a lesson from everything that we go through. Also, I can just see people that Mr. David Barnes, aka Dave, has arrived. Can we all wish him a happy birthday? Because it is his birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday! I'm going to drink tea now. Let's see how many happy birthday comments we could get. That would be nice. Nice little happy birthday thing. Gives me an opportunity to drink. Yay! Birthdays are coming. That's exciting. So yeah, that's some thoughts I've had on that, and I'd really like to just open up the space for a conversation. Look, the birthdays are going mad now. I was hoping you'd tune in. Can I just say that? Anyway, it's really good to be able to have these conversations. And once we've all done the screaming happy birthday, wow, that has got some activity going. Any questions you have around this, any kind of conversation, pokes or direction, leads, then I'll definitely take them on board. The other thing I want to talk about now is to sort of just deviate a little bit is about something we touched on last week, and I can't believe how crazy that is going. And that is health and fitness, essentially. So we obviously talk about mental and physical health with Wild. So Wild is about mental health, but it's also about physical health. And I've had a lot of you guys, more than I think ever before, contact me saying, like, I feel like I'm not doing anything during lockdown. What can I do during lockdown to get myself moving, to make myself feel good? Because we do the things that are good for us, we're going to feel good. Positive spiral, it's just the hardest part is getting out of that spiral. And I've been thinking about all sorts of different things, and I'm going to be putting out some podcasts through Patreon, sort of discussing all the different aspects that we can sort of take, from motivation and mindset to physical movements that we can do, actual sort of workout type things, to just everyday movement, and how we can sort of keep ourselves in a good space and forward motion with that. I'm really trying to drink. Hey, happy birthday. So anyway, I think I'm just going to reiterate everything I sort of talked about last time, really, which is it is starting small. No matter where you're at right now, it is starting small. Like, I think the classic thing, under normal circumstances, let's go join a gym, or, I need to buy myself a set of dumbbells. Like, how heavy should I get? Like, I don't know what 5 kilograms feels like when I lift a dumbbell. It's leave all of that behind. Like, I am here to challenge all of your thinking and to put new things in there. So basically, it's hard because most of us have been brought up in a culture where first of all, moving our bodies physically is an intentional thing for aesthetics and for acceptance. What kind of acceptance? Public acceptance. We tell ourselves it's personal acceptance, that we will love ourselves more if we will love ourselves more when we. It's really very dangerous to be caught in the if we or when we kind of conversations. And I think it takes a lot of self-awareness to be able to hear yourself when that comes out of your mouth. It's like me, for example, I don't like saying I can't. If I say I can't, it's a slip up and I'll notice it because it's so rare, or it's an intentional I can't, and usually I'm lying to myself. Let's start with mindset. So that mindset, first of all, needs to be challenged. Now, I talk a lot about a foundation of self-love and compassion. When it comes to exercising and moving, as I say, it's so simple and easy and drilled into us that it has to look a certain way, but no one's body is the same. You're not the same as me. I'm not the same as you. We're all very different, and we all require different things to feel a different way, to look a different way, to achieve different goals. Absolutely, there's a standard regime. Of course there is. I don't want to talk about that. I want to make this accessible for everybody, and so basically, I really need to drink more. Sorry, I'm just feeling my head pounding. I always get everything everywhere. I've just lost my train of thought again. Yeah, so moving. The mindset. There we go. So it's sort of looking at your situation and saying, okay, you want to move more. Why? Is there a trail that you want to train for? Is there some event that you want to get ready for, whatever. Is it because you just genuinely want to spend some time investing in yourself? You just want to move more. Like, looking at that is super cool, super important. I'm actually just enjoying the feed, but I can't think and read at the same time. It really doesn't work. So basically, let's start with the mindset. So looking at your why. What is your why for what you're going to do? Like, what are your inner reasons for this? Like, you might have something that you tell everybody else, but maybe there's a reason inside of you, and actually, if you are able to put that outward into words, have some kind of accountability, that's really helpful and really powerful. When we're going through these changes, like, especially something we want to be sustainable, having accountability is really helpful, and you might say, I feel like sometimes I just burn out of my words, doing something alongside somebody can be a really great motivator. And obviously right now we can't see people in quite the same way, but we can still say, oh, in this time and this day, I'm going to go for a walk. Like, why don't you go for a walk? I have a friend in Denmark, and I've been trying to walk a little bit more. And he went for a walk. I think it was before Christmas. The same day we sort of set the walking date, and like it was almost as though we were walking with each other, sending each other pictures, and that was really, really good because I genuinely just felt quite flat. But it was nice to sort of do that and share that experience. And I think that's sort of step one, is finding what is achievable, what can we do. And last week we sort of talked about meditation as an example. It's a very classic thing. A lot of people want to meditate because they know it's good for you in whatever way they know. But 20 minutes, half an hour of sitting cross-legged going, feels completely unachievable. You don't need to do that. Can you do 10 minutes? No? Okay, no worries. Can you do 5 minutes? I'm sorry, it's just too long. Can you do a minute? And that's the point. Like, most people say, yeah, I can do a minute, because who wants to say you can't do a minute of just sitting and breathing? Like, you don't need to clean your, you don't need to clean your mind. It's that taking what you can do and making that, using that to empower you. So then when you're sat there and you go, oh, I may as well do another minute, you've already achieved your goal and done more. So it's not what we can't do, it's what we can do. So I can see somebody there saying that obviously they've got physical limitations. Obviously there's some things we physically, for whatever reason, actually cannot do, but it's using that language to flipping that language to empower ourselves. Let's not look at what we can't do. Let's look at what we can do. And that is carnage in our heads because we are humans and we are programmed to be bitter and sad and frustrated and focus on all the bad things, and I have to say, one of the reasons why I feel like generally I'm in a pretty good mental space is because we don't watch the news. We only know what's going on from people, and I have a very strong rule. I only want to know about something if it's something that actually is actionable and has some kind of impact. Like, I don't want any conversation about, oh, this might happen on this day, or they might lift lockdown but not allow this on this day. Like, what's the point in that? That is not helpful. And obviously I'm very blessed that out here that is the way I can choose to live life. Like, many people are on the front line, many people are in this conversation daily, and I have to say I'm sorry, because it's not good for us. If something makes us anxious, that cortisol level is going up. That's going to stay in your blood system for a long time. We need to get ourselves calm. And look after ourselves. And the mindset is the one way to do that. What can we do? How can we empower ourselves? Because if you don't choose to do that, you're on the fence. You're on the fence between giving up. And I want to say that's okay, but that's not okay, because we need you. Please don't give up. You have so much to contribute. And just by being here, you're contributing to my life. You're enhancing my well-being and my future. And you're investing in me, and you're investing in yourself by listening to what I have to say. So therefore, technically, you're shifting this way a bit. You're not giving up, which is awesome. So that mindset is really, really important. And then when it comes to the physical movement, it's what can we do? And as I say, I'm planning on making some videos about this eventually, so they will come your way. I just always lose my train of thought. But yes, mindset, really, really important. And then it's sort of the physical thing. Again, let's not overthink this. It's okay, what can we do? Have we got chairs? Yes, we have. Like, if you don't know how to do a squat and that's too much, it's basically sit down on a chair and stand up. Can you do that 10 times? Great. Form is really important. I'm not here to run through forms right now because, everybody has slightly different ways of movement. Yes, there's this sound rules for how to do a squat, for example. But everybody's joints move slightly differently. And all we want to do is just prolong health and increase, the quality of your movements and your muscles, and lessen the chance of injury. So, do your research. But sitting down on a chair 3 or 4 times, is really good. Something I've been working on recently is I'll set myself a goal. So I'm trying to trick my mind. I'll set myself a goal, say, actually, I think I mentioned that during January, Anna and I, we said we're going to do 30 press-ups every day. Like I said, don't freak out about that. 30 press-ups, what? Like, we're doing them on our knees. We're trying to go slow, trying to get as deep as we can so we get maximum muscle movement. They're quality press-ups. Cool, we're in February. We're going squats now with 10 press-ups. So every month we do our exercise and then we carry 10 of that exercise over. So next month could be, I don't know, tricep dips. So then we have 10 press-ups, 10 squats, 30 tricep dips. Whatever. So that's kind of fun. But my mindset that I'm really trying to practice now is if I say I've got 20 minutes on the bike, I'll do 22 minutes. If I've got 30 press ups, I'll do 33 press ups, like just something more than I could do, if that makes sense. Like, so I've set that boundary and then I want to push above it. And, you know, Anna and I think I mentioned, you know, I am a boxercise instructor. So Anna, you know, that's how we met. If you've watched the Abby and Anna show, came to my class, she knows how to box. So we do a little bit of boxing a couple of times every week. And I've really been trying to ask her, encourage her, you know, give me the hard things and then make me do more straight after. Just when I sort of think that I've reached my limit, there is always a beyond the limit, you know, and if we look at a situation, say, I don't know, skydiving, you know, you're terrified to go skydiving, but you want to do it for a charity you really believe in, and then you eventually get out of the plane, and the common saying is, I can't believe I just did that. I can't believe I had that in me. You know, what we have within us, we so rarely tap into, and it's such a great skill to be able to actually look at ourselves and be like, okay, this potentially lives within myself. Can I tap into this? And how can I tap into this in everyday life? On that note, something interesting is going to tap into our live stream. It is the hand. Does the hand have a voice?
No, not yet. Maybe it needs to get a voice.
Hello, I'm the hand.
Hi.
If you go right back, you're a very little hand, and then finally I have bigger hands than you. Oh, you're so little. Nom, 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 nom. That's quite fun. The hand. Thank you. Now I have warm tea. Life is good. So yes, and I can give you an example of how that practically came out. Oh, interesting, Rachel. Question, Rachel. Sorry, that came out weird. Come on. Oh, when I was cycling. So basically I it was tough, you know, being out there. I wasn't feeling great mentally. I was very proud of myself for getting on the bike. But the truth is, when you're on the bike, you actually have to do something. And there's one, why is it so hilly around here? It's so hilly. They're just like, you're in second gear in the car to drive around here, you know. Anyway, so I was like, okay, if I can get myself to the top of that hill, which I knew I could, but my seat was too high. I wasn't in the right muscle groups. My hands and my feet were blocks of ice. But it's like, if I can push myself to cycle to the top of that hill, then you can go the short way home. So basically, you know, the top of the hill comes up to this junction, and then you can go home this way, down the hill to the house, or you can go all the way around, sort of like a C shape, and then get to the house. Almost a full circle, actually. So anyway, I got to the top of the hill, and I'm like, that's stupid. Well, I'm not going to go the short way. I just did that. So then I went the long way anyway. But I told myself that I would go the short way, and that worked because I was like, yes, and I can just get home and see Bobby because he's all alone. So that was really fun, you know. I can just see somebody just asked, did I ever consider joining the army? I did, but also I don't, as much as I love swords, I just don't believe in weapons, and I just don't know when killing is ever necessary. I'm definitely an advocate of peace, and I understand that might be a very, to some people, naive point of view, but I think we need to see more women in power, and then maybe, you know, society's perspective might shift. I was listening to Brené Brown's recent podcast, and I can't remember what she was saying, but she was saying 100%. This stat is initially just going to blow your mind. I can't quote where this has come from, so that's a little disclaimer. But 100% of jobs lost due to COVID in December of 2020 in the United States were women. The majority were of Black and Native origin. So indigenous origin. Like, that just blew my mind. And then she gave a number, something like 168 years. In 168 years' time is when there will be gender equality in the United States. Obviously, she's a US citizen. So I don't know about the UK. I don't know about the rest of the world. I don't know where those stats have come from, but I know that she's going to quote legit things. It blew my mind. It made me angry, you know, and I think it was something like 60 something years. I don't know. As I say, this is completely off the top of my head. If you're interested, please check out her podcast, Unlocking Us, Brené Brown, on wherever you listen to your podcast. It's so powerful. She has some incredible things to say. You know, it's people like her, it's people like Rangan Chatterjee, it's people like whoever Deliciously Ella, whatever, that they really, these guys, I call them my mentors, you know, because I tune into what they have to say, even if it's something I did, oh, I'm not going to be interested in that. I listen because, and I make the time to listen because I want to learn and I want to grow. And I want to especially hear people who have opposing views to me. I want to feel frustrated, you know, because I want to really be able to look at my own opinion and be able to stand firm in that. And I want to be able to listen to people with an opposing opinion and be able to listen to that as well, you know, and have respect and understanding for them. So anyway, coming back, as we're talking about Brené Brown, yes. So, you know, she's talking about the however many years it's going to take before there will be sort of an equal balance of women to men, so gender equality in the White House and the whole parliamentary thing, whatever it's called, presidential thing. See, I'm not Brené Brown. Can I just tell you something? My career goal, like the one career goal I have, is to actually chat with Brené Brown. That'd be cool. Let's try not to burn myself alive. So it's just, yeah, and Rich Roll. There you go. Rich Roll is on the cards, you know. And obviously everybody has slightly differing views because I'm me and they're them. But I respect what they have to say. They have earned my respect, and so I give them the time. That's the point, you know. And all of this is conscious. I'm not where I am today by accident. Everything has been intentional investment. We are what we consistently do. We have to consistently invest in ourselves. We have to consistently invest in each other. The world is going to stay the same. It's going to get worse if we just keep looking after ourselves. It's the biggest lie we've ever been sold, is to put ourselves first. If you go back to any faith-based thing that's actually been lived out properly and not in all due respect, but a very religious, structured, judgmental kind of way, whatever. I don't know what the phrase is there, but basically the foundation of faith is believing in something that technically, you know, you have no proof. That's what faith is. Faith is trusting the unknown. And right now, everything is unknown. So technically we're all having faith that things can get better, or we can have fear that things are going to get worse. So faith or fear, choose which side you want to be on, because there's no sort of middle ground. We might fluctuate a little bit, you know, between a little bit of doubt and worry and insecurity, but faith or fear. And having these mentors, having these people who I've intentionally listened to, intentionally given the time, you know, every time you say yes to something else, you're saying no to something else. Every time I've said no to something, you're saying yes to something else. So if I put that TV on, you know, because I want to watch, I don't know, Grand Designs or whatever, I don't even know. I'm saying no to picking up my book and learning something. You know, every time I'm doing a walk and I look at my phone whilst I'm walking Bobby, or just myself, I'm going, come on, Abby, let's go for a walk. I'm saying no to seeing nature, you know, to listening to the birds, to enjoying just being with my dog. It's so important that we realize that everything is a balance, and we're constantly between two different ways of life. And if things don't feel comfortable in your current way of life, you have to pick that apart, and you have to feel into yourself, and you have to feel the rubbish things in order to get through. And one of the best ways to get through is to invest in others, because in investing in others, we're investing in ourselves. And that might seem kind of disturbed, but it's so, so, so true. The most powerful people out there who I respect, you know, are people who are doing things for a much bigger picture than themselves, you know, and that is how you make a difference. And that is how you feel good about your life, you know? So yeah, it's very interesting, and there's so much to learn. And if ever we reach a point where we're done learning, like, that's so sad. Because I find all of this stuff so exciting, because essentially this whole massive things that I blabber on about during these live sessions is essentially it's human potential, and it's unlocking human potential, you know, all the stuff that lies within us. And I just get so angry, you know, and so desperate, because so many of us are struggling with our mental fluctuations, you know, with anxiety. I mean, so let me tell you something else, okay? I've been talking to you guys about, great, Duncan, thank you. My friend said that as well. I'm losing my own accent, not that Hagen accent. Okay, I've just been thrown by a comment now because I completely denied that with my friends. So if random people are noticing that, all due respect, then yeah. Okay, so I've mentioned my back. This might actually, yeah, I feel the tears already. I mentioned my back and the fact that I've had an ongoing issue there. Pretty much every film you watch, I will be in some kind of pain. It's a chronic, ongoing pain every single day. On a scale of 1 to 10, it works. I'm sitting sort of around a 6 or a 7 out of 10 in pain. Like 10 is just like I'm on the floor in tears. You know, it's a real thing. But it's a constant thing. So sometimes in the night I'll just wake up and it's burning. It's not skeletal as such. Well, I'll tell you what it is in a minute. But I've had it for such a long time. Backpacking is technically, you know, if I couldn't handle the pain, I wouldn't backpack. And right now I can't. There you go. I can't. Right now, I'm really struggling wearing a backpack more than ever before, because essentially it's a nervous pain. It starts sort of on this. This is my spine. It starts on the side of my spine. It comes up. Then there's another tender point at the base of my neck. It goes up through the side of my neck, the tendons, and then my traps. The pain radiates out. So essentially, everything from here upwards is constantly in pain in my back. And sometimes it's a little bit more localized. But I say to people, the analogy I use is you've got your bicep, right? You can rub your bicep. That's quite nice actually. And it can feel nice. You know, you can do that on your back. You have a massage, feels good. Yeah. You pinch the skin of your bicep, no issue. You know, if you pinch the skin on my back, like, I'm sorry if I hurt you. It is agony. And the pain that I feel, if I'm not too graphic, is it literally feels like somebody is slowly skinning me. It is horrendous. I'm not really one for medication. I try and steer away from that. I've been looking at a lot of different holistic treatments. We use the tiger balms, for example. A little shout out to Mark Uddle, who I know is sending some our way. So thank you for that. And you know, I've had acupuncture, I've had osteo, I've had physio for however many years. You know, I've had blah, 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 all sorts of different things. I've tried anatomy and motion. And one thing that just frustrated me is every single person is adamant that they know what's wrong and then they can fix it. And every single person tells me something different and it generally doesn't help. That's no respect to their medical career, but it's such a parallel with my mental health situation. Every person I go and see, oh yeah, we can help you with that. Or, you know, but the reality is they're just not what I'm looking for. And that's okay. But it's sometimes really disheartening to feel like I'm always falling through the cracks. And it makes me just go, oh, this is the biggest con of all time. But anyway, so in 2018, I had an MRI on the NHS, and they basically came back saying there was nothing to report. There's nothing wrong with the spine. And then in December of last year, I had an MRI and I paid for it privately. So I have a medical pot now because my mental health and my physical health, this back is just, it's too much. You know, if you can imagine somebody like literally permanently wiggling a dagger around in your back and you're trying to function with your life and have normal conversations and do a live stream, like it's a lot to take in, you know, and people say that, oh, when you have chronic pain, you sort of learn to ignore it. And it's true to one degree, but then I wonder why I'm just suddenly getting agitated and I have to just get back into my body and be like, oh man, I'm in a lot of pain, you know? And I'll wake up in the night and it will just be burning, like someone's holding me over these candles. You know, it's horrible. And I had this MRI in December, and I think I mentioned I was very anxious, but I paid to do it of my, you know, my top and my thoracic spine, so my neck and my thoracic spine, and basically they came back with this big long sheet of all these different things that have come up, and And the reason why I got to this is, first of all, because of my osteo. And can I just have a massive shout out to Ross, who is my osteo, child osteopath. Thank you, Ross. Like, honestly, what I love about him, and he is going to feature on the podcast, can I just say, is he is real. He is down to earth. And he was able, the first professional out of how many tens of professionals I've seen in all of these years, who held his hands up and say, this should be working. It's not working. Let's figure out what else we can do. Like, how good is that? Like, that is the best sign that somebody is a decent medical professional, in my opinion. Like, of course, if they can help you, great. If they can't help you, they shouldn't continue treating you, you know, or they should if it's fine, but you get the point. Anyway, so he got me to this MRI. So I went and did that. I got the results, which was startling because he said, essentially, you know, there's the onset of spinal arthritis, and I have disc bulges from C3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And he said he's never seen 5 disc bulges before. So that's sort of from here, and then it goes down, which is essentially where the pain radiates from. It could come from some kind of childhood trauma. I fell on my head once or twice. Explains a lot. Or it could literally just come from age-related like aging, or something else, whatever. There's a few other things in there you don't need to know about that. But basically, I'm like, okay, cool. This is scary, especially the fact that, he said sort of in the base of my thoracic spine, my spinal age and the things you'd see are typical of a 55-year-old. And that was a little bit scary for me to hear. I am 24, in case you don't know, because I'm somebody who's very physical and I'm somebody who's in a lot of pain. Like right now, I'm sorry, but that's why I move a lot. That's why if you watch me in the Abby and Anna show where I'm just sat there, like I try not to do it because it's obvious, but I'm constantly trying to sort myself out, And anyway, I then go, okay, well, I need to speak to somebody who might have some more options. And I went to see a spinal specialist, one of the most specialist people, as far as I know, in this area. Ross certainly said so. I went to see him on Monday, and my biggest fear, I can't tell you how anxious I was. Like I managed to do some work that day, but the reality was like, because again, let's just take a step back. I'll tell you about the results in a minute. I know that when I'm anxious or when something is making me unsettled, like I will just eat a lot, just constantly be in the kitchen. I pick at my skin. Like I'm not going to be shy about it. We all have blackheads. Like I spend a lot of time in front of the mirror, just picking at my skin. Things that don't need picking, they need to heal, or I will pull hair out when I'm anxious. And I don't do it anywhere near as much as I used to because I'm much more aware of that now. I don't notice it because I'm trying to notice it. Like I breathe a lot more shallow. I will move around a lot. Like I'll constantly be very restless and again, not really notice that. And I'm just trying to like consciously calm myself down. Like this morning, I felt again, very anxious because I'm not in the best space mentally, or, I haven't been, and I've had a few phone calls that I've had to do, which would take me into a different mindset. And I was getting anxious about those. And so for this appointment on Monday at 6:10 in the evening, why give me the whole day? I managed to get there, which was awesome. And I got in, I went to the appointment. And my biggest fear, the reason why I was really anxious, was being told that there's nothing that they can do, that basically I'm stuck with this for the rest of my life, because I can't tell you how afraid I was and am that will break me, because it's so unbearable sometimes. Yeah. And basically I go in and we chat everything through. He has a look and he's like, oh, I like the fact that he was very open and honest. Like, it is possible that the source of your pain is the disc bulges in your neck. Like, we looked at my MRI. I've looked at MRIs before. And you can see that the discs, so you've got your vertebrae, solid bone here. Yeah. And then underneath that, they're separated by the disc. You've got your cerebral spinal fluid, you've got your spinal nerve going down through the middle. So your bones and your discs around that. And basically the discs are bulging out slightly. And when they're bulging out, or when they're slightly injured or whatever, on an MRI, they're darker. So you can see them. So they look kind of this color on the MRI, even though they're black and white. It's just dark. Whereas a healthier a disc in your spine is a lot clearer. So there you go, a little bit of science there. Anyway, I find all this stuff very interesting. It's just a bit more scary when it's about me. So I could see those discs, and he's like, the thing is with these disc bulges, they're not severe. Fantastic. So I really went down the route of, okay, looking at my spine structurally, because the one thing I wanted to all clear on, double-sided sword, all clear on, is that structurally, yes, I have these disc bulges, but based upon the MRI, from what we can see, your spine is actually really quite healthy in the part that we were looking at. So this upper part here. And there's no reason why you cannot continue your activities. Winning, happy days, super pumped about that, because great, if I can get rid of the pain somehow, or we'll come to that, sort that out, then technically I can carry on, happy days, I can get all fit and healthy and stop using this as an excuse, as some people would say. So then I'm like, okay, what's the deal? Bye, Patrick. What's the deal with this pain then? Where is it coming from? What can I do about it? Expecting him to go, oh, okay, we'll try like a steroid injection or blah, blah, blah. So the disc bulges here, that's where he thinks the pain is radiating down from. So the pain I'm feeling in my upper trap, so here, but on my back, is referred pain. So it's coming from here down to this point. And because it's so big, there's nothing they can do about it. They can't put a steroid injection in this point and in this point, because that could affect my respiratory system. And so it's basically my biggest fears were realized. And I said, he said he didn't say his direct words that there's nothing we can do for you, but in his medical jargon, there's nothing we can do for you. And I have a bit of respect for him because he's a fellow hiker. And shout out to the chap because he climbed Kilimanjaro at the beginning of last year, just before lockdown. So that was interesting. Anyway, and I said, I'm not leaving this office until I have some forward plan. Like, if I have to deal with this, I have to deal with this. And oh, Patrick, do you have an interview? Whatever your interview is, you'll nail it. I know you will. So basically, he didn't really have a lot to say. He said about starting on amitriptyline, which can be can be used for nerve pain management, which takes up to 3 months to get started. And it just always, everything comes back to medication. It has its times and place, but the thing is, the language he used, of course, unless we have a broken bone, you can't say something is for sure. And I respected him for that. He wasn't saying, oh, it's a fact that this is what's causing your pain in your upper trap, but I feel like I left some things out, and now I want to get a second opinion. Basically, I want to know what's going on. And as I came out, like, I stopped myself from crying in there. And as I came out, Anna was there and she met me. And like I said, I'm kind of desperate to cry at the moment, but the tears just aren't coming out properly. I felt slumped. I felt really low. And yesterday, I really think that's what hit me when I got in the car. I haven't really fully processed it. And I knew I needed to ring people and let them know how the appointment went. In reality, I just wanted to sit in quiet and think about what this meant and tune into God. And if I'm honest, that's me, and my faith, and lean into that and see where I'm directed. But at the same time as feeling exceptionally disheartened and in a lot of pain, I also feel like, all right, game on, because it's like COVID. It's like, game on, like, do what you want to do. But in here, I'm not having it. I really have to believe that my body can look after itself, that I'm going to get through this, that fine, if I have to deal with pain for the rest of my life, I will find a way to do that. But I'm going to try, and I'm going to try, and I'm going to try. And yes, I might break down, and yes, I might fail, but I'm going to try again. And all these age-old sayings are so true. We have to keep trying. We can't give up on ourselves. And just when we feel like giving up, that's the time to keep trying. That's the time to look somewhere else. And if what we're doing isn't working, we have to try something else. So I was quite disheartened to not see my osteo yesterday because I wanted to sort of have a chat with him. And so I just wanted to bring you up to date with that as well, guys, just so you know, because again, this is a very real example of that mindset. And, I could have got really, to put it bluntly, pissed off with him. This man, like, I felt like in one way he wasn't taking me seriously because he just wanted to talk about hiking. Oh, he didn't really give me much guidance as to what to do next. He just let me walk out and have to figure it out myself. And partly that's my fault, even though I was assertive, because I can be assertive. And I could have focused on that. I could have focused on blame. I could have gone into victim mode. Oh, woe is me. Why does everything go wrong with me? Why can't I get help? Well, like, why, just why? And but I didn't. And I've been in all of those spaces before, but I choose not to because I don't want to. And it's not about just being optimistic, because optimistic alone is completely blind and useless. It's optimistic coupled with initiative. It's optimism coupled with initiative. It's optimism coupled with courage to pick up the phone, to message him and say, look, I want to get a second opinion. How do you recommend I do that? I haven't done that yet. Can I just say I'm still working on that? It's optimism coupled with hope and faith and belief. And it's not blind, but it is blind. And actually it is blind. But what kind of world do I want to live in? Do I want to live in a world where I'm just like, oh man, like, that's it. Like, I can't backpack anymore. Like, I can't even say it because I'm instantly like, okay, fine, take backpacking from me. Try me. I'm going to find another way, something else to do. Like, that's not me. That was never me. This is new and it's exciting. I don't know how long it's going to carry on for, hopefully forever. But I share it, not to be like, whoop-de-doo, look at what I'm doing, but to be like, you can do this too. Because wherever you are, it's likely that I have been on some kind of similar path, or somebody has been on some kind of similar path with their mental space. There is low and there is low. and we are in this together. That's the point. We're in this together. And that's what Stay Wild is. It's showing up for each other. It's being vulnerable with each other. It's being compassionate and accepting and patient with each other. Because if we can't do that for ourselves, we can't do it for others. If we can't do it for others, we can't do it for ourselves. I don't like just one of those taken individually. It needs to be both ways. And that's the flow we have to find. That is how you have community. It's all very well talking about something. Do it. Do it. And I know this whole thing like, oh, we're not human doers, we're human beings, so just be. But it's true. But if you just be, then you're not investing. If you don't move, you're stuck. And if you want to change, you need to do something. So be a human doer, but in the right ways. And I think that there is a really nice place to start to wrap this up. I want to say thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I feel like I have had some kind of like focus today, which is quite nice. I don't know how I've managed to talk for an hour, but I have to say, since starting these initially in March last year, I've definitely become a bit of a talker. As Anna knows, if I get excited about something. I can see, Heather, you just asked one question. How do you get through dark times that you could share to help with others? Thank you, Simon. Chili, whatever that is. I will look at that. Heather, so how I get through dark times, it really depends. I don't have a magic thing. And I think everything I'm sharing is kind of related to that. I focus on the things that I enjoy, and there's a lot of things I enjoy about life. If this is life now for the next year, I'm okay. You know, I have nice coffee, I have nice tea, I have a community, I have nice salad that we get to eat and sweet potato, I have a cute little dog, you know, like that really does make a difference, you know, and I think that's, first of all, wherever you are in a dark place, focus on what you have got. Focus on what you have got. Practicing gratitude doesn't necessarily mean you feel grateful. That's the point. But you do it anyway. And then gradually the feelings align with the thoughts. Feelings align with thoughts. Basically, like action is so important. After action follows the actual result. And also, what's the other one that I like to say? I haven't said it for a while because it's more of a PT one. Motivation follows action. There you go. Sometimes it's a case of acting and then you get motivated. Sometimes I get on that spin bike, I don't feel like it, but then I feel acted. Acted, that's not a word, thanks Sue. Then I feel motivated because it's like, cool, I'm on the bike, let's make the best of this. So yeah, action, motivation follows action. Try and tell yourself that. That's a good little saying as well. All right. Oh, and clarity follows action as well. That's true. Food for thought. Speaking of food, I'm going to go make some. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Wherever you are, stay safe. And of course, stay wild. And all that means, look after yourselves. Please keep in touch. And of course, if you want to support what we're doing with Wild and support yourself, please do consider joining our Patreon community. Patreon.com/spend more time in the wild. On the hoodie, on the website. See you soon, guys. Take care. Catch you at 6 p.m. Oh, no, yes. Keep an eye on my social media feeds because actually next week we might be doing one a little bit earlier, extra special. Might have some furry guests visiting us. I'm not going to say for sure right now because I need to check with our landowner, but stay tuned. Stay wild. Bye.